This is a very quick start to using AutoCAD for floor plans. If you start a brand new drawing here, what you're looking at when you start this drawing is a small screen, just 2 feet by 5 feet. Uh, so what we need to do is to be able to establish a workspace that's a little bit bigger. I usually turn off my grid, which is down here next to model. You can click on this little blue looking grid to turn it off. My background's white, yours is probably black, which is fine. That's the default for AutoCAD. It's a little clearer for you to see it in this white background, I think. So when I first started drawing, the first thing you'll need to do is save it, right? Save it and give it a different name than this drawing one DWG, and then type in units, 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 and press enter. When you change your length type right here from decimal to architectural, you're changing the way that you see the units in the drawing in the command line down here where you're going to have your dialogue with AutoCAD, and how you input the information. So you'll be able to put feet, which is really the apostrophe there. So length type, change that to architectural, and then pick OK. The most important part of your screen is this command line down here. So if you did get into a command and you wanted to get out, one way is to press the escape key on your keyboard. So at the top left corner, just press that escape key a little bit and you'll see cancel, cancel, cancel. This is really an important part when you're first starting out, is to keep an eye down here at this type of command area. You don't have to click in there to even type a command. So I'm going to, right now what we're doing is we're looking at the small space to work within, and everything is drawn at full scale. So if we draw a floor plan that's 20 feet across, we're going to be drawing a larger line. It'll be outside of the screen. And so there are several ways to kind of back up to see that working area. I'm going to give you kind of my quick version. My quick version is to just draw a line that's about the width of your working space, and then zoom up to it and then delete it. So I know that's crazy, but I'm going to start the line command. I'm going to click a point. Then I'm going to pull my mouse in the direction I want to go in, but I'm not going to click. I'm just going to type in 50 feet, which is apostrophe right next to the enter key, and enter. Now, see, when I use the wheel of my mouse, or I try to back up away from that line, it won't let me, so I'm going to go ahead and press enter again. So start the line command, click a point, pull your mouse towards the right, and type in 50 apostrophe and just enter twice. Now I can double click on the wheel of my mouse, and that will give me a zoom extents. The other way is to use this navigation bar over here. There is a small arrow that you can click on that is underneath zoom extents to get to more commands. But if you click right on this this kind of X with the magnifying glass, you'll then also do a zoom extents. Now, at this point, if you have a wheel on your mouse, you can roll the wheel back towards you. Rolling your wheel up and down is like a zooming, and you're zooming into that little pointer there. You can hold the wheel down to pan the objects. You're not moving them, you're moving the view of it. So hold the wheel down on your mouse to pan. Double click to zoom extents or see everything that's on your screen, or roll it here towards you to back up away from the drawing, and towards the drawing towards the computer to go closer. Now you notice here that I can already see that there's kind of a limitation of that workspace. So if I needed it to be any bigger, I could go here and zoom out a little bit more using zoom out. See, because model space is so huge, you can have complete cities in here, and even bigger. You kind of define the space as you're working within it. So I'm going to get rid of this line. One way to erase is to select your line and then pick the erase icon. Another way would be to escape out of that, because if you click on a line, you have those little blue grips. Escape out of that. Start the line command first, just by clicking on the erase icon, or you can type in E for erase, and then select here with that little pointer, that little pick box, that line, and then enter or right click. Right click is also a form of entering. Some people will even use the space bar because the space bar is sort of like entering. So as you can see, like any other program, there are a lot of options here. But now that we can type in units and we set that up, you saved your file as something else. We want to set up some layers. Layers help you to keep your drawing organized. You can lock layers, you can turn them on and off, and you can make them different colors so you can kind of see where your objects are. So in this release of AutoCAD, there is a big icon called Layer Properties. Uh, Older AutoCADs have just a small icon here at the top left corner of this layer panel. I'm in the Home tab, by the way. That's the default right there, Home tab. So I'm going to click on Layer Property, and then I'm going to click on this little icon that has a little orange dot next to it. That's for the new layer. And I'll type in here Door. And if I press Enter twice, it'll bring me to the next layer. I'll type in Walls. You could just pick the new layer icon also. And maybe we can combine the dimension and text into dim text. And one more called Hidden. So you might have to pick on here this line, Hidden. And only because I want to show you the different options in here to get started. So for any one of these, you can change the color in this color column. You can click right on the word white and it'll give you the option of changing the color. The colors in this strip right here start with 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use those if you like. You have 255 colors to choose from. It's really perfect for a color presentation. Because I have a white background, I'm going to use the darker colors, but you can go ahead and use yellows and greens and cyans. You can actually change the properties of the color also, and we'll talk about that as we start to print. So I'm going to go ahead and use something like blue or something that would be a little bit darker, but you can even keep the white. Keep the white. If you keep the white, it'll be black and it'll print black, or it'll be white on your screen and it'll print black. So you don't need to use, for instance, you don't have to use the color black in order to work in AutoCAD. So here, let's highlight hidden, and then for this one, we're going to, in the line type column, pick on the word continuous. This is how you load your line types, or this is one way. I'm loading the line types through the layer hidden because I want to change the layer hidden. I can pick here the load button, and you can stretch this dialog box out and see all of these different layers that we have, even the fence line and gas lines. But here's the hidden. Then we've got the phantom line for the property lines and quite a few more. You even have batting for the batting, the insulation that's within a wall section. It's just a line, and it actually will show a nice representation of that batting. So I highlighted hidden here. I'll pick OK. And then here I'm going to highlight hidden again and pick OK. And now I know that that layer is hidden. And for the walls layer, go ahead and highlight walls. You can click in the line weight column the word default. Maybe we want to use line weights within the layer to establish our line weight of the walls as being a little bit thicker. So I'll pick something like 0.6 or 0.60. I can go ahead and pick OK. Now some companies have created a pen assignments, a different file that establishes line weight based on color. So the company might have all the red colors are going to be, everyone that uses the red color is going to be bold, or green colors are going to be lighter. But in this case, we're changing it right here in the layers. And we're going to create walls first. So double click right here, right to the left of walls. It'll put the little green check mark, and you can close out of this palette right there, and then check out your layers that you've created in this drop down, and this is what we'll be using. So let's make sure that the suns and the light bulbs are both yellow, all of that's yellow, and that this lock is unlocked so that we can work with it. Now, if we use lines in a floor plan, that works, but if you use polylines, then when you go to establish the second double wall, you won't have to clean up as many corners. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Polyline, and it looks just like a line, but it's all connected. So let's go ahead and pick the Polyline. And then I'm going to pick a point here somewhere, and that's the only point that I'm picking in this whole floor plan that I'm drawing. I can pull my mouse to the right, don't click, type in 14 feet 11.5. That's for 14 feet 11.5 inches, and enter. And then pull your mouse straight up and type in 22 feet, which is the little apostrophe, and enter. Pull your mouse to the left, type in 17 feet 11.5, 17 feet 11.5, enter. I'll pull my mouse down and type in 14 feet and enter. And I'm using the apostrophe that's right next to the enter key there, and I'm not using inches at all. Pull your mouse to the right, type in 3 feet and enter. And then I'm going to click on close here to close that shape. Now it's different because in AutoCAD, when you type in a number, it reverts to inches. In Revit, when you use a number, it will automatically pick up feet. So you have to kind of remember that as you're working with each program. Okay, so now I have a polyline in front of me. When I go close to it, you'll see that the whole thing is selected, unlike separate lines where just one will be selected. So now I'm going to use this command called offset. The offset command will help us to create the other wall, the other side of it. I'm just going to make it 4 inches. We can start the offset command, and you see down at the bottom here, you have this command line. This is your dialogue with AutoCAD. You really have to pay attention to this area because AutoCAD is asking you for information. So it's asking me, instead of clicking a point or selecting an object, it's saying specify offset distance. I'm just going to type in 4 and enter. And now it says to select the object to offset. Well, this is the inside line that establishes the inside of our wall, so I'll click on that. And then if you look at my pointer and where I'm putting it, if I click on the outside, the wall is going to go on the outside. Inside, it's going to go on the inside. I know based on this assignment, I'm going to pull my mouse out to the outside and click. And now I've got the offset. You can either right click and pick enter, or enter on the keyboard, or press escape to get out of those commands. Now if you were really wanting to work with this, there are a lot of advanced commands I could go right into, but this is an introduction video. We will use the explode command, which is just right underneath erase, to explode these two polylines, making them kind of go back into individual lines. So I'll go ahead and click on explode, select these 2 lines or 2 polylines, and enter. Now when you go close to the line, it will be just the one that's highlighted. So now if we'd like to put a door opening here, we can offset these walls to establish the opening. So I'm going to go ahead and start the offset command. You can type in O if you'd like and enter. I'm going to type in 4 feet and enter, 4 apostrophe and enter. And I'll click on this inside small line and then pull my mouse down and click. And now if you want to go back to offset and type in 3 feet and enter, you can, because we're going to create another offset here of 3 feet. But in the new release here of AutoCAD, we can stay right in the offset command. We'll just select this wall, this line right here, pull our mouse down and type in 3 feet and enter. So now I've got 2 lines that I've offset. I could have gone back to offset, typed in 3 feet and enter, select this line, and then clicked below it, but we can also stay in the offset command. So now there's a command called trim. If I start the trim command, it's TR if you'd like to type in. It's next to erase. If you start the trim command, you can either establish your cutting edges and then enter and then click out the lines to cut back or trim back to those lines. Or what I like to do is start the trim command and then just press enter to accept, and then just press enter to accept here this select all. If you press enter to select all, everything becomes a cutting edge. And now I just click out what I don't want. I'm going to click out this, these two, and this one right here. If it was aligned individually like this, it won't let you select it because it's already trimmed. There are no intersecting lines. I'm going to right click and pick enter or press enter on the keyboard. Now, in order for me to keep this organized, I want to change the layer to doors so that the objects will go on a layer that's a little bit less of a boldness in the line. So I'm going to go ahead and click on door. And then I'm just going to draw a 3-foot line right there. I'm going to start the line command, click a point here at the corner of the opening, pull your mouse to the right, type in 3 feet, and enter twice. There's my door opening. I'm using the wheel of my mouse to zoom in and out. To roll the wheel, I can hold the wheel down to pan, and I could double click to zoom. Okay. So now we have a lot of arcs that we can use. Here they all are. I like to use start and direction sometimes. So it depends on what you have as information. Start and direction. I'm going to click on the end of the door and the opening, the other side of the opening, or where I want the arc to end. And then in this case, I'm going to pull my mouse in this direction and click. So there's our door. Now this is when we start to talk about line type scale and scale factors. So we'll start with drawing a hidden line right there. We'll create it on the hidden layer. So drop your layer list down here, click right on the word hidden, start the line command. I'll just click on this corner here, pull my mouse over and click here. Now it doesn't look like it's a hidden line and it won't print as a hidden line, but you see all the little dashes right here as I get closer are hidden lines. There they are. So what we need to do is to type in one word, LT scale, LT scale, and enter. Now this is where we start to talk about scale factors. I'm showing you this chart, but I do have it available to send to you if you'd like. We established at the beginning of this project that this was going to be printed at 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. And these are AutoCAD scale factors here in a chart of standards. This is kind of a guide that for 1/4 of an inch equals a foot, the scale factor in AutoCAD is 48. And that just means that the text and the dimensions and the line type scale are going to be 48 times bigger. And all of this is so that we can keep our full scale drawing, so that we can work with full scale measurements. So I can give you a chair that's drawn at full scale and it can go into your full scale drawing and not at 1/4 of an inch or some odd number. So the drawing is actually larger, and we're going to increase here the line type scale. And so I have these notes here. The first one is line types, and that's what we'll type in. So we typed in line type scale, and now we're going to here type in 48. 48 and enter. When you do that, you can see that your scale of your hidden line is now longer dashes, so that you can actually see it and create it in that way. Now, you didn't have to use 48. If you're not on any company standards, you can use 42 or whatever you'd like to get the line length the way that you'd like it. And that's for all line types. So that would be for your phantom lines and center lines. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit here. I'd like to place a dimension, so I'm going to change the layer to my dim text. I'm going to use here the linear portion under annotation here. In the Home tab still, I'll click on linear. I'm going to click on the inside corner on the left and the right side, pull my mouse up and click. And what you'll see is that it's really small. There it is. And it's not in architectural form yet. So what I like to do is type in D and enter. There is an icon for it, but it's buried underneath this word annotation. So I type in D and enter, and I pick the modify button. And I'll just go through some of these tabs here quickly. In the primary units tab, I'm going to change my unit format to architectural. This is where it really changes the way that the dimension looks. And I'll take the check mark out of inches so that I can actually see 14 feet 0 inches. Then I'll go to the fit tab. In the fit tab, we're going to change this overall scale right here to 48. That'll make it 48 times larger. I'm not going to change individually the arrow and everything else. I'm just going to change this overall scale, and it'll change the whole thing for me. I normally put a check mark in front of draw dimension line between extension lines. Let's go to text. In the text tab, the default or the drafting standard is an 1/8 inch text height. So I sometimes change this to an 1/8 inch. Text placement, change vertical to above so we can get that look that we want. We can click in front of aligned with dimensions, so our horizontal lines align with the dimension line. And over the symbols and arrows tab, you can use closed filled arrows, but for this example, I'll go ahead and pick architectural ticks. And then you can change the arrow size, which is just that slash little tick mark. I'll change that to an 1/8 inch. Now that we're using architectural ticks, we can go to the lines tab and change this extend beyond ticks here to an 1/8 inch. And we also have over here extend beyond dimension lines. We'll make that an 1/8 inch, and that's for the corner and how long those lines are extending beyond the ticks. I'll go ahead and pick OK and close, and now we have our number. Now, if you start the linear command here, and you see you have quite a few other ones, you can actually press enter so that you can click right on top of that inside line there, and AutoCAD will automatically pick up that line. Now, there are other tools like quick dimensioning, but in a busy drawing, I found that they pick up too many endpoints, so I'll just go one at a time. Sometimes I'll use continuous, which is another type of dimension where you can create a long continuous dimension. So here I can start the linear command and press enter and click here for my 14 feet. I wanted to show you this because if I start the linear command and click here and here for my door opening, if I want this to line up, try not to just kind of fudge eyeball it. You can go over to an existing dimension and click on the endpoint and know that it's lined up. So that if you did go back and put a 4-foot here, then you know that these won't be staggered when you print. It'll be all lined up nice and neat there. Okay. So now I have a title to put. I know that it's much bigger. If I use the smaller default, it's going to be way too small. One way to make it bigger here is to search your multi-line text underneath the A here under text. Click on the little arrow, click on multi-line text. I'm going to click a point to start this edit box. But then I'll type in H for height or click on the word height. And then my command line will ask me for the height. I'm going to use 6 inches because I'm taking the 1/8 inch text, multiplying it by 48, and getting 6 inches. So I'll type in 6 and enter. And then I'm going to pull my mouse over and pick to establish my my small little editing box, multi-line text editor inside AutoCAD. You'll see that the ribbon changes completely. So now with my cap locks on, I can call this floor plan and start to put the rest of the information. In these newer releases of AutoCAD, the numbers are automatically stacked, and you do have that automatic indent. I'll show you how to fix that if you like. You see this? It'll automatically think that you want to put another scale there. So what you can do to clean that up, if you don't want your fractions stacked, because they do get pretty small, depending on the scale that you print, you can click on that fraction and click right on that little lightning bolt icon and pick unstacked. You can go up to bullets and numbering and take the check mark out of allow auto bullets and allow auto bullets and lists. It'll take that right off, and then now you can back that up if you want to have a little more flexibility of where you want those numbers. You can also highlight floor plan and underline it by using this U. And this is a little tricky, but if you highlight text and then don't use the drop down, but click right on top of this number here, and then type in your new number like 8 and enter, you can get your bigger text. If it happens to replace your floor plan text with 8, then you can use the undo button right inside the panel here. It's right here, undo, in order to try it again. You can click in space, and then if you want to go back to it, you can double click on it to get back into the editor. You can also select any objects and then hold your left mouse button and drag and drop it to the new location. It's sort of like moving it. If you select an object and hold your right mouse button, you can also drag and drop. The difference is that you'll get this little dialog box that'll ask you if you want to move or copy it here. Okay, so you can finish the rest if you like. There are a couple of other things I'd like to work with you here, and it looks like because of time constraints in this video, I'll have to put them on another video. And so, but I will show you as an introduction. And then just quickly, if you did create a layer called furniture, you can set that current, and if you press Control 2 will give you what's called the Design Center. Yours won't look like mine, but yours will have the sample folder highlighted, and it will be at the bottom. So here you want to look for ENUS and click on, or double click on it if you'd like to open it, Design Center. And then in this Design Center, you have all of these different drawing files that have blocks inside of them. So you can go to the Home Space Planner and click on blocks right there. You can then drag and drop these drawings into your drawing. They're blocks that are inside a DWG file. And here in the Design Center, we also have House Designer, which has a few blocks like the sink and the tub. We also have some HVAC symbols, kitchens, landscapes. So if you wanted to, pull in a double sink or work with some landscaping, there are some trees here and north arrows here too. So these are the ones that come with AutoCAD, but if you look anywhere for DWG drawings, you can get a lot of free ones here under Autodesk Seek. And if you did get a free one, I'm going to close out of that. To bring blocks into your drawing, you can go here under Insert, click on Insert, and what you'll see are those blocks that are inside your file. Once you bring a block in, it becomes a block inside your file. So if you already have blocks, you won't go straight to the dialog box here. I'm going to click on More Options. The ones that are in the drop down are already in the drawing, but if I click on Browse, I can go browse to a folder that has all of my DWG blocks in it. So it's basically inserting one drawing into another. And when you do that, the whole block will come onto the current layer, and layers will be created based on what's in that block to kind of hold those objects. But once you explode the block, then it goes back to its individual pieces and individual layers. You can, though, double click on a block. I'm going to close out of this. You can double click on this block and pick OK, because you can actually edit a block. It doesn't edit the original drawing, but it kind of puts you inside the block. So I could edit this in any way here, and I'm just going to take one of these pillows out, let's just say, as an example, and then I'll pick Close Block Editor. It'll ask me if I want to save it. Maybe I want to save it, but see, it's still a block. It's still a block. All the beds, though, that had that same name in this drawing would change and become updated. If you click inside the blue grip right there, you can right-click and pick Rotate and use that as kind of a base point to rotate those objects. You can drag and drop them into place. And one last thing I wanted to cover is that when you print, you can click on the little printer icon. You can change the printer, whatever printer you're working with. You can then change the paper size if your printer is bigger. Change the plot area, what to plot, to window, so that you can window this object or what you want to print. You're clicking and then pulling your mouse over and clicking, so you're really establishing the paper. You can pick in front of center the plot, and then here the right hand side of the dialog box can be opened with this little less than or greater than circle. You can change your pen assignments to monochrome if you'd like black and white. Use the AutoCAD CTB for the color. And if you do that, let me just go into the monochrome here. I'll pick yes. You can click on this little icon next to monochrome CTB and see that all the colors have these properties that are attached to them. So instead of changing everything inside the drawing, if you wanted your color yellow to print black or some other color, that you can establish that, which is kind of great for presentations because you could create your own of these pen assignments by just clicking here and picking new and starting from scratch, so that you can have 3 or 4 colors that are printing in color, but the rest are maybe black, and they could also be in grayscale. So you have a lot of options. You can even screen the ink to see how much ink you're going to be putting on the drawing. So this is where I would change it to portrait, but if I'm not scaling it to fit the paper, then I want to take the check mark out and I want to change this custom scale. And this custom scale could be the 1/4 inch equals a foot. If I needed it to print at a 1/4 inch equal a foot to a specific scale, then I need to use this area right here. If you apply it to the layout, then it'll always be saved in this file, and then you can preview it to see what it looks like. If you roll your wheel up a little bit closer, you'll be able to see your line weight a little bit in this preview to see that that layer that we set up called walls does have that line weight. And then you're ready to print. Okay, that is kind of a beginning. There's much more to work with. You can contact me anytime and I'll help you out with everything from basic to advanced options here in AutoCAD and also in Revit and other software programs. So enjoy.